Are you ready?
I've been ready.
Don't give me any of your crap.
Come on, we're wasting people's time.
Hi there. Thanks for diving into Two Peas, Same Pod, the humorous podcast of family unity that proves we're all in this comedic roller coaster of life together. Here are your hosts, the father and daughter duo, Eric and Tovah Weinstein.
I'm just saying things.
Welcome to Two Peas, Same Pod.
Same pod.
I am Eric Weinstein.
I'm Tovah Weinstein.
And we are the co-hosts of a father-daughter podcast.
Father-daughter.
I don't know why I find that funny every time you do it.
It's funnier because the first time you had like a weird speech impediment type thing going on, you were like, we are father-daughter.
So welcome. If you're a first-time listener, we're a father-daughter podcast. We basically hit on some pop culture in a first segment called World Peas. Our second segment is Peas Are Family.
Peas are family.
As always, a little tribute to Sister Sledge.
I am the sister in the family as well.
That's true. Where we talk about a story from our family folklore. And then close with Peas of Information, where I ask Tovah a couple of questions not relevant to anything we've spoken about during the podcast.
Let's spruce that segment up. The segment you're in charge of is a double doom. I went to Costco today, and I think someone was looking down on me because I'm driving in Costco, right? I'm near mom's office, and a little further down at the light, and I'm like, crap. I don't have my wallet. I was like, I don't have my wallet, like my cash wallet. And that's where I usually leave my Costco card, because I only keep a couple cards in my main wallet and my key wallet because of this I don't like to take a lot of stuff out when I go. So I jam cash in and like 2 cards, and I have anyway. So I never have my Costco card in there, and I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. I was like, I'm not even going to look in my little key wallet because it's never in there. I go in my back. I'm like, there's like a 50% chance that my wallet's in here. Not in here. Then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just check my keys. And by the grace of something, let me just tell you, my Costco card was in there. Something was looking. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is actually crazy. I was like, I was just going to have a hissy fit in the car.
Well, there's an easy solution. First of all, when you go into Costco, you can go up to the service desk and they can give you your
some
card.
schmuck. What are you looking at?
Nothing. I have my eyes closed.
Yeah, while I'm talking, that's so rude.
I am intently focused on what you're talking about.
Said
nobody ever. So this was not a crisis and no reason to be stressed.
No, not really, but they didn't have blueberries, sorry.
That stresses me out.
I
It's
know.
blueberry season.
And
How can they not have
They only
blueberries?
had organic blueberries, and
For our listeners out there, I eat 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of blueberries a day.
He literally is a walking antioxidant.
I am a giant antioxidant. Mm-hmm. That should be my nickname, Antiox. You should call me that, Antiox. Antox. I don't know. In any event, Tovah was supposed to get me some blueberries at Costco, and mission fail.
But they actually, surprisingly, for Tuesday, it was manageable. People were still going so slow, but I managed to swerve around them. My cart was heavy, too. I had paper towels. I had toilet paper. And Mom got pissed at me. She was like, we don't need more paper towels. And I was like, no one told me what we needed. I was like, you are welcome that I got some paper towels.
I think Mom told you we needed toilet paper.
Yeah, she said that, but I just assumed that toilet paper. I mean, you know what happens when I assume, but this was a reasonable assumption because when we go to Costco, we always get toilet paper and paper towels, and we used to we always are gonna need those. So
True.
And I got a lot of things. I got some good stuff. I got a bottle of Conundrum for Mom.
You don't need to get a bottle every time you go there.
Okay, well, I got a bottle for
I'll
me
have
of
to check my
else.
Amex bill.
No, they don't take Amex.
Yes.
Yeah, but the other one just...
Let's give a little snippet of some world peas. What do you got? Give me a couple of little topics.
Well,
stuff that I can talk about.
Can we talk about Karen Reed, not taking either side?
We can talk about Karen Reed. The problem is for some of our listeners, like our fans in Denmark.
Yeah, true.
And New Zealand, they have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, but a lot of people are local to Massachusetts more than international.
Well, I think so, but we need to treat all listeners equally.
Everyone is equal.
Anyway, yeah, so what do you want to say about Karen Reed? I'm sure I don't want to hear this. So for our listeners that aren't following the Karen Reed trial here in Massachusetts, there was a woman back in 2022, and she was dating a Boston police officer, and their relationship seemed to be rather rocky, and they went out partying one night, and then he ended up dead on somebody's lawn. The next morning, he was found. She was charged with second-degree murder, involuntary manslaughter, motor vehicle homicide, because the facts that the Commonwealth was putting together was that she backed into him purposely and killed him. And he ended up on this lawn in Canton, a town in Massachusetts. But the defense is that the evidence had been entirely mishandled. The investigation had been entirely mishandled. And that, in fact, what they're claiming is that she dropped her boyfriend off at that house because he knew the people who lived there, and they had been out partying with those people. He went into the home. They claimed that he was beaten to death or beaten severely in the house and then dragged out to the lawn and left there to die, and it was in a blizzard. And he didn't have a coat on. There's all sorts of stuff. And I can tell you it has been tremendously messy and ugly, and the people involved in the investigation for the state police, really, some of them were despicable.
Well, that was a good introduction. I just think there's never like a coincidence like this, and there is some talk about like corruption within the Boston Police Department.
The Boston, Canton Police, and the state police.
And it's getting to a point where now like other cases are getting opened back up, like a suicide case is getting opened back up for a homicide.
That's Stoughton. That's a different police department.
Yeah, but there's I don't want to get into it, and there's no need to get into it because it's just a conspiracy I saw on TikTok.
Oh, God.
Anyway, I just...
By the way, I do subscribe to one of these Facebook groups that's like pro Karen Reed, and those people are nuts. Like, listen.
Yeah. Those people are nuts, but I think there is a side to be heard, and I think that there are a lot of things that are a little weird.
Not a little weird.
We don't need to get into the basics.
I
and
can't even get
nitty-gritty.
into it. There's so much BS in this case.
I'm just excited for the Netflix documentary that will happen no matter what and no matter which way. Who'd you say you think would play her?
Not a documentary. It's going to be like one of those... Not a mockumentary, but one of those
docu-series.
Fictionalized accounts of the trial.
Like the girl in Plainville or whatever.
Yeah, like American Crime Story.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever. So this could be American Crime Story. I was thinking it could be one of the Margot Robbie, type people, but you had somebody better, I think.
I said Rashida Jones just because I think Margot Robbie is just so out. Like, I think she's just done a lot right now, and I think we need to give her a little second.
But
people are going to be like, Sydney Sweeney, blah, blah, blah.
I don't really know. We've talked about Sydney Sweeney.
Good, keep it that way.
Karen Reed in the photographs always seems to have like a look on her face. Now, listen, if I was charged with killing somebody too, I'd have a look on my face.
Yeah,
so they need an actress who has like a perpetual scowl.
But did you hear about them looking for explicit photos of her?
Yeah, the whole thing is disgusting, the way the state police handled it. The state police investigator who handled this, went through her personal phone, texting his friends that he was looking for nudes.
Yeah.
And he's made a lot of crass comments, called her a lot of vulgar names.
Yeah.
He's really a piece of work. But what troubles me more about having him involved is that he is also involved in that case where the husband down in Hingham cut up his wife into little pieces when we were on that cruise.
Okay.
This is like almost 2 years ago.
Near Derby
a year
Street?
and a half. Now, I don't know where it happened, but, the Brian Walsh case where he cut up his wife into like little pieces and then spread her parts all around the North Shore and South Shore of Massachusetts. And this guy Proctor is the same investigating trooper, which really doesn't bode well. He's the one who testified that he called her the C word.
See you next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You can't use that as an insult.
True. But, yeah, he called her that. He called her all sorts of things that are just terrible.
Is that really?
Just terrible.
Is that word
terrible.
Coming back? Terrible.
No, but in England, they use it in a different context. Linguistically, it's just used, and it's used different. The vernacular use of the C word in England is more like you're a butthole. Anyway, okay, get on to one more pop culture topic before we jump into the...
I had a little bit of a Kylie Jenner controversy and all them to talk about. Everyone out there, you probably know what I'm talking about. She literally looks terrible. Go to images on Google, Dad.
Cry me a river. I am not feeling bad for her. Not a big fan of the Kardashians. Certainly not a fan of Kris Jenner.
I love Kris.
I was a big fan of Bruce Jenner, the world's greatest athlete, who then became Caitlyn Jenner. I still consider, in 1976, I think he was the world's greatest athlete.
But now, if she were to compete right now, would she?
Oh no! I mean, she's old. She's older. But what was really interesting is it was a show on Netflix where Bert Kreischer went to like some cabin in the woods, and he had like special guests come and visit him up there, and he had Caitlyn Jenner come up and visit him, and he called his dad because his dad was a huge fan of Bruce Jenner when he was in the Olympics.
And what did his dad say?
Oh no, they had a great conversation. He got very emotional.
No, I bet you can have I bet Caitlyn Jenner has like great stories and like you can hold a great conversation with them. They have like the lore. Like they have the lore.
The winner of the decathlon at the Olympics is top of Mount Olympus here.
Bruce, you always was flamboyant. Everyone, come on, take a breather like you didn't know.
About what?
Bruce.
Didn't know about
Caitlyn.
What?
Being a little it doesn't matter. Grow up hair and move on.
Like I always say, how does it affect me personally?
It doesn't.
It does not. So I'm just moving on.
It's a beautiful day looking Malibu chic.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my God, I'm so
Please
mad.
continue to talk over me though.
I did TikTok filter of which Kardashian I look most like, and it gave me Caitlyn Jenner. What the actual?
That's a kick in the head.
What the actual?
Wow.
Why the face?
Why
WTF?
the face? I love Modern Family.
I know it made you watch. You guys were watching it all night last night.
Mom put it on. Yeah.
I am sick of these game shows. I'm sick of it.
So hold on.
They put on like the most BS game shows.
Can you stop?
Sorry.
Let me just say.
People want to hear me.
Oh yeah, I hear you all the time. Let me just say that what's on regular broadcast television is garbage.
Yeah.
So we have Verizon Fios. We have like 900 channels of nothingness. Yeah. And we've got a whole bunch of HG channels that are equally nothing.
Cake Boss.
And, oh God. And, you know, we have like a set selection of like 5 channels that we watch frequently enough to get value out of it. But unfortunately, because there's such garbage on television for the most part, we end up watching either old sitcoms that we used to like when they were first on, like Modern Family, or
and Everybody Loves Raymond,
and King of Queens,
and King of Queens. Oh my God,
love that Leah Remini.
It's literally just those two like terrible sitcoms
and Modern Family.
No, you guys just started you just put that on yesterday.
No, we've been watching it when you're not around.
Family.
And on the weekends, sometimes it's Mike and Molly. Also on TV Land, but oftentimes we'll go into the current streaming services and watch. Like right now, Mom and I are watching Loot with Maya Rudolph. That's fantastic. It really is. Because Apple TV
need to watch Sugar.
Apple TV has really high quality production values to their television shows. And so whether it's Ted Lasso or whether it's Loot, very high quality.
You need to watch Sugar.
Shrinking.
You need to watch Sugar, and then you need to watch Dark Matter, but I would suggest watching that after you watch Sugar, because me and Nick are watching Dark Matter right now, and it's currently like releasing on Apple TV. Those 2 shows are really good. You should watch those 2 shows. Then with Mom, you can watch those 2 shows, and then you can watch the 8-Team by yourself.
You know, we like the game shows. You know, I tried out for Jeopardy when I was in college.
Oh yeah, tell that story.
Well, there's not
say it loud, say it proud.
Not a whole lot to tell. I was very much into trivia and just general knowledge back when I was in college, and they had the Jeopardy, college week, tournaments, and it was kind of fresh back then because Jeopardy had just sort of come back into the fore. It had gone off the air for a little while, but then it came back, and they were doing tryouts. So I did the on-campus, it was the on-campus tryouts, and I had to do a couple of rounds there, and then you had to submit to be tested or to go on for a trial. I went through the trial. They invited me to go through the steps where you go and you try out against other people. And that, I think, was at the Springfield Civic Center. And so
were you and Mom together?
No, we were not at the time. I mean, we were both in Amherst at the time, but we weren't a couple.
Yeah.
And so I tried out on campus, and I made it through a couple of rounds, and then I went to Springfield, and I made it through the first round and got bounced in the second of 3. So I didn't make it through, which was too bad. It was a lot of fun. I was really disappointed.
I don't know why you didn't make it, because we'll be sitting in the TV room and they'll be going and you'll just like literally be like, bah, bah, bah.
You know what it is? It's a combination on Jeopardy of being able to press the buzzer quickly enough that you get to give the answer and knowing the answer. And
yeah,
unfortunately,
you know all the answers.
I don't know all the answers.
You know a good amount.
In today's world, I don't. Now I watch the show, and I'm thinking to myself, these people are otherworldly.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, on the Peas Our Family segment today.
I went back to camp this past Saturday.
So how many years did you attend overnight camp as a camper?
As a camper?
What year did you start? 10? 2010?
Wait. I think I did 6 years as a camper and then 9 years or 10 years total.
So 10 years. And Josh did 12, I think, in total between being a counselor and a camper. As we say, Jewish people are only parents for 44 weeks a year because the other 8 you people are away at camp.
I know. Oh my God. What a luxury.
It's the luxury that we pay for.
An expensive luxury.
But it was a tremendous experience for both you and your brother. You each have lifelong friends from camp. Josh is still close with his camp friends. You're still close with some camp friends.
And I was shy before I went to camp. Can you imagine that?
I cannot even remember those days, but I do.
Well, we do have a shout out. I want to shout out Cousins, the Horowitzes.
Cousin Sherry and the girls.
Cousin Sherry, Olivia. I don't know if Sarah listens, but shout out. We alumni Shabbat this past weekend. This is where I saw my friends. We met up with a bunch of people from my bunk too. Shout out all of them. It was nice to see them. It was a long time, but it's like nothing's changed.
That's the thing about close friends.
But yeah, we were back at camp. It's a little different. Today's actually the first day that the campers arrived, but it was nice to see everyone. I also want to shout out BFF Wendy and Steve.
BFF Steve and Wendy.
Hopefully they're out there listening. Glad that they moved a little closer to us. Sharon's a little far.
Yeah, now they live closer.
I know, and there's nothing really to do in Sharon. And camp's not too far, so.
I went to camp
when
in northern
I got
Maine.
there, they were like, hey, like, you're doing anything? We have, like, summer, like, we have a bunch of positions. Like,
really?
Yeah, and on my Instagram, Lydia Morber commented, like, Director of Happiness, and Danny Fear, like, loved it or whatever. And I was like, I can't get involved. This is so messy.
Is Lydia there?
No, she was for alumni Shabbat.
Oh, but she's not working there anymore.
No.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but so Pizza family, I went to Israel with the camp, and they took away my phone while I was in a foreign country.
Yeah, there were some things about that trip that we weren't really happy about. That was probably the primary one. Yeah. But you were violating the rules with your phone.
I wasn't. My phone, something I think just like my other one like wasn't working, so I had to use the Wi-Fi on that to get in touch with you guys. They just snatched my phone. They go, you can't have your phone outside of your room. So we were in like a lounge area
because that was where they had Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah,
the lounge.
And internationally, they snatched my phone. I had this crappy talking save that didn't work, which is the only reason I was on my iPhone, which didn't have a SIM card. I had to use Wi-Fi. It was chaotic. And then they finally were like, oh, here, you guys have been so good. You can have your phone back for family, stay, weekend. Because people were literally going to, other places in Israel and other people got their phones taken. And we, needed our phones to communicate with them. And, when people needed to get back from homestaying, wherever they were.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I threw a hissy fit on the way to Israel because I didn't want to go. I threw a hissy fit on the way back because I didn't want to leave. You know,
classic
seems like
Tovah.
That seems like a terrible pattern of mine.
But it is a pattern.
Yeah, I threw a hissy fit before we went on our cruise, but that was due to something. So classic.
Well, we already talked about that. So really quick, I'm going to give my Pizar family story for the week.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to add on a little more of the Pizar family. That the reason I wanted to shout out Cousins is because I actually am named because of cousin George.
He was a extraordinarily well-educated Jewish educator, and he was also the executive director of the foundation that runs your camp as well as a couple of others. He was also involved in the American Camping Association for many years. One of the greatest people I've ever known.
Yeah, just
in my life.
Just a joy.
Really, just a joy to be around, and just I can't say enough about George.
Piercing.
I miss him.
I know.
Yeah,
I
miss him
remember actually the night that he passed. It was very sad.
Yeah, I miss him terribly. However, when Mom was pregnant with you and we were talking about namings, the name Tovah came up, and he was insistent that no matter what name we gave you, if it ended with an A, there had to be an H after it.
Why?
Because like Hannah with an H, Tovah with an H, Sarah with an H. Because in Hebrew, when those names are spelled out, there's a hey at the end, which is the Hebrew letter that is equivalent to an H.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you have to have it. And we were going to
have
anyway,
it.
You have to. Anyway, yeah, that's why you have an H at the end of your name.
Quick shout out.
Yeah.
Lives up the street or lived up the street.
Lived up the street, yeah. So, really quick, the Peas Are Family story for the week. Back in 1992, your mother and I passed our professional licensing exams at the same time. I passed the bar exam in the summer of 92, and Mom passed the CPA exam in, I think, October of 92. The results for both of us came like within a few days in November of 92. And once we, realized that we had both passed and we could practice in our respective professions, Grammy and Grandpa decided it would be nice to go out for dinner. So they made a reservation at this restaurant in Cambridge called the Spinnaker Italia, which was at the very top of the Hyatt Regency, and it rotated around. So you got a beautiful view of the Charles River and the downtown Boston skyline, and we got a beautiful night. It had just happened. We were lucky enough late November that year. The weather was clear. It was beautiful. But we had a table that was stationary in the corner of the restaurant. So we did not rotate. But we had this great table.
Oh, because you have vertigo.
It was at the corner of the room. So we had a view of both the downtown skyline and the Charles River skyline looking towards BU. And it was just a beautiful night. And I will say, honestly, although it didn't happen probably too much more, but there was a lot of liquor flowing at the table that night.
Oh my God.
And it was Grammy and Grandpa.
Classic Grammy.
It was Grammy and Grandpa, me and Mom, Aunt Michelle, Uncle Paul, Bobby and Papa. Okay. So it was
That's a gang.
It's a gang, all right. Yeah. So we're all sitting around. We're having a great meal. There's liquor. There's wine, pretty much. And grandmother gets up to go to the bathroom, and she's gone for a really long time. The food was great, so I didn't think that she was ill, but, nobody really noticed. And all of a sudden, she comes back, and she'd been gone a long time. When I say a long time, I mean really, like...
We take a while in the bathroom, so, we give people a good, 15 minutes into noticing.
This was long.
Okay.
So she comes down, and she just sits down, and, whatever. Nothing untoward had happened as far as we could tell. And so she sits down, and I turned to her, and I said, what the hell was that? Where you been? She goes, well, I went to the ladies' room and, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. And we just continue on with our meal. About 15, 20 minutes later, this young couple, whom I've never seen before, comes over to your grandmother, and they cannot stop thanking her. I'm telling you, they are the president and vice president of the Jerry Weinstein fan club. They are all over her. Oh, my God, thank you. You're so wonderful. Thank you so much. You're so nice. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God, I can't believe how great you are. But I think they got the wrong person. Okay, but anyway, they leave. And I'm like, Ma, what the hell was that? And she says begrudgingly the following, that when she came out of the ladies' room, on the way to the ladies' room, she passed their table. And they were a couple having dinner, and they were getting their bill, and they tried to pay with a gift certificate, and there seemed to be some difficulty. And then when she was on her way back from the bathroom, there was some debate or discussion going on with maybe a manager or something. It turned out that their gift certificate or whatever they had at the time had either lapsed and expired, or it was excluded from use that night or whatever. So somehow, some way, they didn't have any money to pay for the dinner. And grandmother had gone over to the hostess stand, and she gave them her credit card, and she paid for their dinner. And so she didn't tell them anything. She didn't say anything to them. But apparently somebody must have gone over to them and said, it's all set, it's all taken care of. And when they asked how or why, the waitress, the waiter, the manager, whomever, pointed out grandmother to them and said, oh, that woman over there, paid for your bill. And so they came over to thank her, whatever. So the lesson learned that night is that if you go out with grandmother, forget your wallet, leave it at home.
I typically do. Also, I like seeing you and mom in public because you'll do that. You'll put money towards the bill secretly.
All right. Well, we like to
secretly
spread a little joy.
I remember you did it on my 16th birthday. You paid for someone's meal at Max Brenner Chocolate.
That's right. Now we saw somebody there that I had known since she was born.
I think they might listen. Maybe.
I don't know. No? And her boyfriend. Who she's still with all these years later. I told the waitress to swipe it for them, too.
Swipe it. I'll swipe it.
Yeah, you do plenty of swiping.
I'll swipe it. Not at Costco.
Okay. So now we'll go into our final segment for the show, the Peas of Information.
Terrible name. You need to spruce this up.
My question for this week is, what is your favorite book?
I don't read. Handmaid's Tale. I literally, Dad, you're barking up the wrong tree here.
You say that every week.
What was the one when I was younger with the purse, the traveling?
Oh, Lily and the little plastic purse?
That one. That's my favorite.
What was it, Mr. Slinger?
I don't know.
All he could say was, wow. Okay.
I don't read. I'm sorry, people. I started to read Game of Thrones and Handmaid's Tale. I like to watch and then I like to read. I read Hunger Games.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I have...
You don't have another question? Are you joking?
What's your favorite type of music?
I like country music. That one's stupid. I think you've asked that before. But I like now I'm liking pop, like Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan.
I have no idea who these people are. I don't even know if they are people.
Blew up overnight. HOTTOGO. Standing, smiling, touch toes.
I'm thinking about getting into some rap.
Oh, the other day when I was at my nail appointment, my nail stylist was like, oh, do you know this person? And it was a pop Christian singer who sings gospel. She's they're really good. You should listen to them. I think me and mom have been going to this woman since the year I went to 2 years after I went to Israel. So 2018. Mm-hmm. 7 years.
Almost 7, yeah.
You think I don't think she knows we're Jewish.
Okay, well.
She was have you heard of this person? They're so good.
Well, next time we'll order you up a Amy Grant CD. Amy Grant was a big, Christian pop singer back in, the 80s and 90s. Now, she's a little more mainstream. She still dabbles in the Christian music. But I also I like B.J. Thomas, who only died a year or two ago. So B.J. Thomas was one of my favorite, older pop singers. Had some great songs back in the 60s and early 70s, but it turns out a lot of his music is gospel based, or he sang a lot of Christian gospel stuff, which doesn't necessarily resonate with me, but I like his voice and I like his songs. So if one pops up in the rotation on Pandora, I just let it go.
And you like to listen to ASL Hamilton. One time I walked in, I think I've said this before, but you were just literally jamming out to or watching ASL Hamilton.
I was playing the Hamilton soundtrack through YouTube, but it was son of a yeah.
You and mom should go see it again.
Yeah, I love that show.
Don't invite me.
No, we've learned our lesson the hard way with you multiple times.
You can invite Tallulah.
She loved it. She loved it. Shout out to Tallulah for liking Hamilton. So, on that note, thank you for listening this week. This has been Two Peas.
Same pod.
This is Eric Weinstein signing off.
And this is Tovah. See you next Tuesday.
Thanks for listening to Two Peas, Same Pod, hosted by Eric and Tovah Weinstein. Please subscribe and join us next time as we continue to share humorous anecdotes, funny mishaps, and comical observations from our own lives.
Two Peas, Same Pod is produced by 1253 Studios, bringing always humorous and sometimes thought-provoking conversations to you through your favorite podcasting sites. Creative Content and Marketing Director Tovah Weinstein. Executive Producer and Chief Editor Eric Weinstein. Music by MBB. Find his work on YouTube by searching for MBB Music or at mbbmusic.com. Special thanks for the intro, outro, and trailer voiceover to Jordan Rich of CBS Boston Radio and Chart Productions, providing audio and voiceover recording and production, as well as podcast production and support. Visit Jordan at chartproductions.com. Funding for 2P Same Pod is provided by the Law Office of Eric Weinstein and listeners like you. Please consider subscribing and supporting this podcast. Until we meet again, this was 2P's Same Pod, a 1253 Studios production.